Democrats are setting their sights on ultra-red Iowa as a potential comeback state ahead of the 2026 midterms. Democrat Caitlin Dray broke a Republican supermajority in the Iowa State Senate as she pulled out a special election win Tuesday in a district Harris lost by 12 points in the 2024 presidential election. And it's not a standalone win. Democrats also recorded double-digit improvements in 3 other special legislative elections in Iowa earlier this year. And now a Senate seat is up for grabs after Republican Senator Joni Ernst announced last week that she will not seek re-election. Multiple Iowa Dems are throwing their hats in the ring for Ernst's seat. One of them is here with us tonight. Joining us now is Zach Wahls, Democratic Iowa State Senator. State Senator Wahls, what was your thought when you saw that Joni Ernst wasn't running again? And does this clear a path for Democrats?
Hey, Molly, it's great to be with you tonight. Look, when I saw the news, I wasn't surprised. Senator Ernst saw how strong our campaign is. There was a poll out earlier this week that showed we were actually leading her in a head-to-head matchup. She saw that her favorability ratings were in negative double-digit territory, and she ran for the hills. So we're really excited about this news. We know that we've got great momentum and that we are the strongest candidate to win this seat in 2026, no matter who the Republicans nominate.
State Senator, it's great to have you on the show. So tell us how you're going to win Iowa. What is it that Democrat voters want in the state of Iowa that they have not been getting from Joni Ernst? And what can you offer the constituents there that others may not be able to offer?
Well, Eamon, I would say it's not just Democratic voters. I mean, we are hearing from independents and even some Republicans who are really frustrated with what is happening in Washington, D.C. right now. It's no secret how damaging these tariffs have been for Iowa's agricultural economy. We've been through this before. It was bad then, and it's even worse now. Corn prices are below $4 a bushel. Soybeans are around $10.30 right now. Most farmers have been losing money growing soybeans for almost 2 years. Between that, all of the cuts to Medicaid, which is critical for rural hospitals, cuts to food assistance, which are obviously devastating for struggling families, but are also devastating for farm incomes. There is a lot of frustration in this state because Donald Trump ran for president in 2024 saying he was going to lower costs. And if anything, the exact opposite has happened. That's giving us the opportunity to build a new coalition that not only brings in new people to the Democratic Party, but allows us to connect with independents and some of those Republicans who are really unhappy with what's going on in Washington, D.C. today.
State Senator, I want to play a clip of you that's over a decade old in which you spoke from the heart, and it really went viral. And I want to hear what you have to say about that moment and what it means today.
I'm not really so different from any of your children. My family really isn't so different from yours. In my 19 years, not once have I ever been confronted by an individual who realized independently that I was raised by a gay couple. And you know why? Because the sexual orientation of my parents has had zero effect on the content of my character.
You spoke with a real honesty and love and authenticity. And how does that translate into how you are going to campaign in Iowa?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you, no one wants to have to fight for their family when you're only a teenager like I was then. But when that was what I had to do, that was what I felt I had to do. I think that's exactly what Iowans are looking for today. They want a fighter, not just a follower. I think that's what Democratic primary voters are looking for, a fighter, not a follower. And the reason Joni Ernst has called it a day and quit this race is because she became a part of that broken, corrupt establishment, the problem that she said that she would try and solve when she was first elected. But I'm a fighter. I've been fighting for families like mine since I was 19 years old, and I had to go do that in front of the Iowa legislature. I took that fight in 2018 to the Iowa State Senate, where I've been willing to stand up to leaders of both parties to fight for my constituents and for all Iowans. And unlike Joni Ernst, I've never backed down from a fight just because it was hard. And I'll say this, my campaign has already scared Senator Ernst into an early retirement, and we're just getting started. So if you want to join us, you can go to ZachWalz.com to help us flip this seat and build a new coalition that can actually win in this state and win back a Democratic majority in the U.S. Senate.
Zach, you're talking to people in Iowa on the ground. What are you hearing? Are you hearing remorse? Are you hearing, just tell us anecdotally what it looks like.
I'll say, Molly, it's a few things. First of all, the tariffs come up over and over and over. I was in a small town today, marching in a Labor Day parade, had the chance to talk with some folks there who are themselves still on the farm. And the frustration that they're feeling with what's happening in D.C. with the tariffs is it's making them want to pull their hair out. After that parade, we went over, spent some time in Pella, which is not exactly a progressive bastion, talked to small businesses on Main Street. We heard the same story, the uncertainty that the tariffs have created for small business owners, for consumers. People are not happy with what's happening right now, but that means it's up to us to extend an open hand to people, these independents, and again, some of these Republican voters who don't like what's currently happening in their own economic lives, and be willing to meet them where they are and then bring them into our coalition. We may not agree on every issue, but if you're frustrated with how broken the economy is and the political corruption that's happening in D.C., we're telling Iowans you've got a place on our team. That's why the poll that I mentioned earlier showed that we were winning independents 51-33 against Joni, and even 7% of Donald Trump's 2024 voters.
Senator, can I get your thoughts on, you've called for a new generation of Democrats and have said that our leaders have failed us. Where do you think the next leadership of the Democratic Party and Democratic candidates should be focusing their messaging and their policy? There is a debate taking place within the party right now across the country in different constituencies at the DNC, and I'm wondering whether you think the party has moved too far to the left, needs to be more center, hasn't moved to the left far enough. Where do you see the debate within the Democratic Party?
Yeah, Eamon, I don't really think of it as being about left versus right. I think about it as being outsiders versus insiders. To me, part of the new generation of leadership means leaders who understand how broken the economy is, especially for young people right now, but for people from all walks of life. When I dropped my son off at daycare yesterday, I was reminded that my childcare costs almost as much as my mortgage. College today is so much more expensive than it was for my parents' generation. When my parents were in college, tuition was the equivalent of 300 hours of minimum wage work, and now it's thousands of hours of that work, right? Fewer of my peers have the opportunity to buy a home, right? To start a family. And that's not just Democrats. That is independents and that is Republicans too. The economy is not working for people. It also means, like I said earlier, being willing to take on the corruption. We know that there is an old guard that has been in power for too long, and they have lost touch with the actual economic realities facing Americans all over this country, and especially right here in Iowa. That's why I support common sense term limits. In Iowa, we know that rotating the crops is good for the soil. You better believe it's good for politicians, too. I talk to people across the political spectrum who are sick of watching members of Congress trade stocks and getting rich while passing laws that hurt people. It has to stop.
Yeah, you won't hear any complaints from me on that one, State Senator. It's great to have you. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you on the show in the weeks and months ahead.
It'd be my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.